We're so excited to finally celebrate your First Communion. In just a few short days or weeks, it's going to be your chance to receive our Lord Jesus Christ for the very first time. Because it's hard for us to come together in person, we've put together this video to help explain what happens when you arrive and what happens when it's time to receive your First Communion. So let's dive right in and take a look at what you need to know for this special day. When you arrive at the church, you will discover that only one set of doors is currently open. The set of doors located at the top of the ramp facing King George Road. If you park in the parking lot, you will have to come around to the front of the church to enter. If any member of your group has accessibility issues, please note that there are two locations with accessible parking. One, located in our parking lot, is not exceptionally close to the doors. If you choose to park here, you will likely need to enter via the ramp. The other set of accessible parking is located on the road next to the church on Waverly Street. This parking is conveniently located close to both the ramp and to the lift. The lift provides access to both the basement, where the washrooms are located, and to the main floor of the church. As you approach the doors, you will likely see that they are propped open, weather permitting. A member of our parish staff or one of our host ministers will be outside to greet you, check you off on the guest list, and invite you to enter the building. They will help answer any questions or provide any additional information you might need. Please note that, in accordance with Brant County Health Unit and City of Brantford bylaws, mandatory face coverings are in effect. Those 5 or older are expected to wear a face covering at all times. Those between the ages of 2 and 5 are asked to wear a face covering if possible. Those under the age of 2 are not required to wear a face covering. As you enter the building, please take a moment to sanitize your hands. Following this, a member of the parish staff or one of our host ministers will help guide you to your seat. If you need to make use of the washrooms, this would be an ideal time to do so. Head down the stairs and follow the signs which will indicate where you can find the washrooms. At the present time, only one washroom is open, and we request that only one family or individual enter at a time. As you move through the church, you will notice a number of changes as a result of physical distancing requirements. Green arrows are located on the floor every 6 feet. Please follow the direction the arrows point to avoid crossing paths with others. You will also note that some pews have been closed. Every second pew is closed to maintain a distance of 6 feet between pews in which people will be seated. We will have specially reserved seating for First Communicants and members of their household. Others who are joining us, friends and family of our First Communicants, will also have seating set aside for them. However, while First Communicants will have specific pews with their name on it indicating where they'll be seated, other guests will be seated throughout the building where space permits. Larger pews have also been taped in a specific way indicating how people may be seated. The larger pews can comfortably seat approximately 7. If we have smaller groups, groups of 1 or 2 may be seated in these pews. As an example, this pew could be used to hold a family of up to 7 people. It could also be used to seat 2 people in the section closest to the aisle and 1 farther in. 1 person closest to the aisle and 1 farther in. 1 closest to the aisle and 2 farther in. Or 2 people in each end of the pew. Just one more quick important note before we get into the Mass itself. Photography is not permitted during the celebration of the Mass. You are welcome to take photos before Mass begins, outside or inside after you've arrived, but we would ask that you please make sure all phones, cameras, and video cameras are put away until after Mass ends. You'll have an opportunity to take photos and video then. Before, after, and during the Mass, we will use announcements to help guide you. Here's an example of what some of those announcements look like at a current Sunday Mass.
The communion procession will start at the far left section. followed immediately by the balcony. Our host team will guide each of the sections, and please wait for their directions. If you are seated in the middle of the church and there are 2 households in your pew, please ensure that you return to your places in the correct order. There is space at the back of the church where you may wait to allow the household farthest into the pew to return to their places first. After receiving the host, please move to the green X marked on the floor. At that point, remove your mask and consume the host. Please place your mask back over your face after consuming the host before returning to your place. The communion procession starts from the back of each section. We invite those on the far left and the balcony to begin to come forward. Our host team will inform the other sections. During our closing hymn, please follow the direction of the host team as you exit the building. Please follow the arrows to avoid crossing paths with others.
Please note that some of the specifics of the announcements may be different at your First Communion Mass. For instance, we want to ensure that you, as our First Communicant friends, have the chance to receive communion closer to the start of our communion procession. As a result, we have slightly changed the order in which different sections approach to receive communion. When it's time to come forward for communion, please listen carefully to the announcements and the directions from our host team. You'll notice that the order is very different from what it was before we began physical distancing. These diagrams will show you a little bit of what the whole approach looks like. You'll notice that in each section, we typically start from the back, not from the front, as we historically have. This does make things a little bit more complicated, but it's necessary to ensure we can follow proper physical distancing protocols. Our hosts will help guide you, letting you know when it's your time to go. At communion time, simply exit your pew, ensuring that you maintain 6 feet between yourself and anyone in front of you. Move forward to the arrow directly in front of the priest, bow as a sign of respect, and then come forward to receive the hosts. The host will be placed in your flat, outstretched hand. Step to the side, where there's an X marked on the floor in green tape. Consume the host, place your mask back over your face, and return to your place. Okay, hold on. There was a lot there. So let's go back through this a little bit more slowly and in a little bit more detail. When you come forward, keep your mask on as you approach the priest. When you get to the arrow in front of the priest, stop, bow your head slightly as a sign of respect for Jesus, and then approach the priest. Hold your hands as flat as possible. This makes sure that the priest doesn't accidentally touch your hands when he's giving you the host. To hold your hands out, take the hand that you normally use when you're writing, drawing, coloring, or whatever else, and hold it out flat in front of you. Then take your other hand and place it on top, also flat. The host will be placed in the hand you don't normally use for writing or drawing or coloring or whatever other activities. Simply take your hand from underneath, carefully pick up the host, and place it in your mouth. After the priest has placed the host in your hand, you're going to move to the side, either right or left, to where you see a green X marked on the floor. When you get there, stop and carefully remove your mask using the hand that doesn't have the host in it. At this point, you can use that hand you normally use to write or draw or color with to pick up the host and place it carefully in your mouth. At this point, it's okay to chew the host or to just let it dissolve on its own. Either is fine. What's important is to make sure the whole host goes in at once. Once the host is in your mouth, carefully place your face covering back over your face before returning to your place. When Mass ends, please listen carefully to the announcements. Please note that once Mass has ended, you are welcome to take photographs, either inside the church or outside. However, we would ask that you continue to follow all physical distancing and face covering requirements. And note that, depending on the current state of public health orders, you may be required to maintain physical distance outside as well as in. We know this video has included a lot of information, and it could be easy to get overwhelmed. But don't stress. You can always go back and watch it again. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us. You can email me at pastoralassociate@stpiusbrantford.ca or give us a call. Our office phone is 519-753-8439. We are very much looking forward to having the chance to celebrate with you, friends. In the meantime, stay safe, God bless, and as we said, let us know if you have any questions. See you soon.